Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 2 versus 2 on Odon, and this is another ranked game where I'm playing with Val. So in this one I'm going to be using the 12th SS-Panzer division, and I'm playing with Val who's using the 352nd Infantry division. We are playing against the 101st Airborne and 15th Infantry. So this was an interesting one because we got a map that really didn't favour the deck that I had chosen, and it really showed throughout the game. I thought I would switch things up, play the 12th SS-Panzer. I haven't played them in a while, so yeah, just decided to bring it out, see what sort of stuff I could do with it, see what needs to be changed to make it more competitive, and well, I thought the ranked setting would be the best way to test that. In hindsight, probably not, but we'll just speed it up and see what sort of stuff I deploy. I'll also change it to my point of view to better show you the game throughout the replay. So you can see that I'm deploying on the right side. Since this is the more open terrain, that's where I'm going to be fighting with the majority of my forces, whilst Val's infantry deck's going to be taking the town and pushing the left side where there's all these forests and so on. Now the trouble is with this is the airborne engineers really fight well in these like clumps of trees. So Val's got to be really careful about how he engages this, like how he does it from distance with like IG-18s and like MG-42s. Like that's how he's going to win against the onslaught of airborne engineers and airborne rifles, which are really going to do a lot of damage to his initial troops like Osttroopen and so on. So I was just explaining on the left side that if a unit of airborne engineers managed to get into one of these patches of trees, then you'd be better off just surrounding it and artying it than actually going into the forest to try and fight them. So either way, we're off, and I'll just slow the game back down again. And I'll show you guys where all of my troops are going. I've got a group of infantry here, the Panzer Grenadiers with the Command Infantry and the SDKFZ 259 moving to the right side. I then have this bunch of troops, an AT gun, Command Infantry, 2 units of Panzer Grenadiers and a 259 heading across the bridge. Then I've got an Aufklärer with the SPW 222. That's going to be covering off the middle line here. And in the centre I've got an AT gun with a Panzer Grenadier with a half-track and the Command Infantry. Now one thing to note is that all of my infantry comes in half-tracks. You can actually get cards of infantry in Phase A that do not have half-tracks for the 12th SS-Panzer, and I've since edited my deck and added some, because in this game it particularly showed that I did not have enough cheap infantry to sustain the front line early on. It really spread me thin, and I was having a hard time dealing with it. Either way, what happens here is this AT gun ends up not being in the right place, so I end up picking it up with a half-track here, and then dragging it back round to the other side of the river, because yeah, from here they can't wheel across the river like Panzer Grenadiers can walk across the river, for example. You can only go across this bridge, and that's a bit far out. Either way, AT gun comes in, kills my 259, which was rather frustrating at the start of the game, and half-track's engaging a 50 cal here, which is perfectly fine. The Panzer Grenadiers are moving up into this tree, and we're currently running a 50-50 at the start of the game. We did gain a little bit of an advantage until these infantry started pushing us in the centre. So this AT gun's going to be busy taking out the half-track here, and we actually managed to kill that off. That was a command carrier, sorry, not a half-track, just a little brain carrier. My Panzer Grenadiers are fortunately out of line of sight of this 50 cal, and they are able to fire onto the rifle, so that worked out well for me. And also what I'm going to do is move over this half-track to provide fire onto these rifles as well. So on this map it's kind of strange, because when you're on this side of the river, you have to push over the river in order to maintain a 50-50, and that can be really frustrating to do. Like, this right side is really hard to hold, whereas if you were like on this side of the river, it would be so easy, and a lot of people like fall for that, but you just can't afford to do it, because otherwise you just lose too many conquest points. Either way, over on the right side, SPW 259 is going to be engaging some rifles, trying to approach from there, and that's going to do a lot of damage to those I'm using my half-tracks here, zooming them up the road to engage the command carrier and the infantry that was running across the open. I've got infantry actually running up to my Panzer Grenadiers, and I don't really want to engage at close range with rifles, so you'll see me start to fall back there and not take that engagement. Meanwhile in the centre, Panzer Grenadiers and my half-tracks engaging infantry that are pushing me. I've also brought up a spare unit of infantry for the middle. So I've still got this SBW-222 here. I would have liked to have used that for fire support, but that's basically providing quite a dent in the front line at the moment. So that's worth having. And yeah, I'm trying to retreat these Panzer Grenadiers from this close-up engagement. And the reason for that was so that I could get my machine guns from my half-tracks on target. But what ends up happening is an AT gun's moved up and it kills off both of my half-tracks on the road, which was really quite frustrating. So what I've done now is brought up an Aufkläder in the SBW-222, and this 222 is going to be providing the fire support now. Just got to avoid this AT gun. So across my right side, I'm spread pretty thin, honestly. It's quite hard for me at the moment to make any ground because Panzer Grenadiers aren't as efficient at killing the rifles as I would like. So I'm having to rely on a lot of my fire support units, and I'm moving the SBW-222 to the right side here to engage some rifles. Actually, it's going to fire to the left side and hit these rifles. But if I jump to the neutral perspective, you can see this AT gun is still here. And Siemens did a great job of using these AT guns throughout the game, and it really hurt my advances. What I'm trying to do with this SBW is really damage this rifle squad in the open. That's what the plan was there. Try and do as much damage to them as possible. SBW ends up moving a little bit too far though. It gets hit by the AT gun, and I'm forced to retreat that. So he's trying to charge down my Panzer Grenadiers here with the rifles to try and make them surrender. Engine is destroyed of this SBW-222, and the Spitfire comes in and finishes off the Panzer Grenadiers on the right side. So at the moment, what I'm really lacking in is like just pure availability, because as you can see, what's happening is I'm just being purely overwhelmed by opposing infantry. I do manage to make a unit of rifles surrender there, thanks to the close range nature of my half-track and the like Panzer Grenadiers and so on, so that worked out okay. This 222 is still doing a decent job as well, even though its engine's destroyed. You can see as the rifles are coming across the open here, they're going to get absolutely wrecked. 259 though goes down on the right side trying to deal with an infantry squad. Couldn't get quite on target quick enough, which really was again frustrating. And it's pretty much the name of the game in this one, where a lot of things were just absolutely like pure annoying throughout the game. AT guns, like my opponent was playing very well. Siemens here on the right side definitely knew what he was doing. So he's harassing me with these Spitfires, and meanwhile he's overwhelming me with a combination of rifles and AT guns, and it's not looking good because these AT guns are perfect for killing any fire support that I would use, and I'm 12th SS-Panzer, so I need to rely on that fire support like the 259s, otherwise my deck's kind of useless. Like my Panzer Grenadiers can't do it on their own, and I've brought up a Boyd to Cromwell now to engage his 6-pounder from out of range. So that's roughly like 1,000, I think 100 meter range, yeah, onto that AT gun. So I'm going to be trying to engage that. Siemens though does move it to the left slightly, and what he's trying to do is move it into this tree line here and get it into range of the Boyd to Cromwell. So I end up moving forwards to try and get a sight onto the 6-pounder, and that's actually going to allow the 6-pounder to get shots onto my Boyd to Cromwell. So this is scary because if the AT gun actually hits me, then I'm going to be in trouble. However, bring up the 259 just to help finish things off, and I'm trying to go for the kill there onto the 6-pounder as best I can. This Panzer Grenadier is going to get the hell out of there. Panzer Grenadiers on the left side, hopefully going to kill some rifles. I brought over the 222 from the left to the right, I believe, but it got destroyed. And now only the Aufkläder holding in the centre there. Got my own MG, or Val's got an MG42 on target of the 50 cal. And now my opponent's reinforcing with more rifles. Also, we've got this rifle squad on the right side pushing up and creating ground for our opponents. So I'm bringing up a range of reinforcements. I've got a couple of units of Panzer Grenadiers. I've got the unit of, this is a flak 20mm. And then I've also got reinforcements from Val. He's bringing up an IG-18 for me alongside some Fusiliers and some Osttruppen to hold the far right flank. So yeah, dropping off a Flak 38, the 20mm. Normally I wouldn't recommend using these, but I've got quite a lot of them on this division now because they are reasonably good for helping to stun ground forces. Either way, over on this left side, taking out a Bren carrier there. Panzer Grenadiers are going to help kill off and pin down some rifles. And here you go, the 20mm on target there alongside the Boy de Cromwell to hurt that rifle leader a lot. But the worst part about these 20mm is that they aren't actually fantastic against aircraft. So this Spitfire actually has a better chance of stunning the Flak 38 than the Flak 38 does of stunning the Spitfire. This rifle squad behind enemy lines though, that's going to be pinned down and forced to surrender when Val's Grenadiers get closer. So managing to hold, but only just. It's pretty scary at the moment because what I'm doing is it's holding so thin. Like, I just lose my Boy de Cromwell here to an AT gun as well. That was really frustrating. He had 2 AT guns, and the one on the left actually killed off my Boy de Cromwell there. If that Boy de Cromwell hadn't gone down, I probably would have been able to push a lot harder, but losing that was really unfortunate. I didn't have my Elfkladder in the right position to spot that coming. Ideally, I should have had the Elfkladder up in the edge of the tree line here. I guess it wouldn't have still seen the 6-pounder, but that's what I imagined would have solved the problem. So yeah, that was just my bad. Not moving up infantry into positions to cover off my flanks before moving up the Boy de Cromwell, and I managed to lose it, so that was just really annoying. 20mm still going. Spitfire's still harassing my infantry. Fortunately though, Panzer Grenadiers are going to be enough to pin down some rifles in this tree line, and I've kind of created a dent on the right side since my opponent overextended with his rifle squad to the right. So making those rifles fall back, again, going to create a bigger dent there. And over on the left side, we're now losing some ground. This is kind of us just ignoring some airborne units moving through these forests. So we've got rifles and Bren group from Seamus. He's reinforced here, but just some airborne rifles that Val can't really deal with his Grenadiers and Fusiliers. And for example here, airborne engineers just going to crush Fusiliers and make them surrender. And that's what we got to deal with. Either way, in the centre, Elfkladder engaging some Recce. Elfkladder are going to go down, but I've moved up a Flak 36 to hold the front line there and make sure we don't get a big old dent in our front line. Reinforcing or resupplying this 259 with some more 20mm ammunition, because that's been busy firing at aircraft for the majority of the time. Val's IG-18 with its 9HE is currently engaging a Honey, and the Honey is actually going to get pinned before it can kill the IG-18. In this situation, what my opponent needed to do is move within 600 meter range so it can use its MG, like its MGs, its 30 cals, to pin down the IG-18 faster than the IG-18 can pin down the Honey. The Honey, they're going to be pinned down. Val's Osttruppen still charging forwards, and my Pak 38 rolling to the left side to kill off this Humber Mark III. My 20mm is going to open up onto this Humber as well, and I'm moving up some Panzer Grenadiers to try and get the killing blow onto that. But this Humber is going to have a good time hitting my 20mm there, so I'm just going to try and get that out of line of sight where I can. Meanwhile, I'm bringing up an SPW-232 to help kill that off. So now I've got multiple 20mm. These Spitfires are actually getting pinned down and hurt quite a lot. Humber Mark III goes down to the Panzer Grenadier squad there. The one man with the Panzerfaust gets the kill, and the SPW-232 kills off the rifle squad nice and easy. I've brought up a half-track here. Did have some infantry, but it got killed. That's just there to assist Val as he moves up against the reinforcements from Seamus on the left side. So I'm assuming that at this point our teammates are on comms because they made that adjustment to bring over some reinforcements from the 15th Infantry deck to the left side. I've got a Panzerwerfer now, trying to use that to take out the AT gun which has been a bane of my life. That will allow me to start to be more effective with my motorized units. So now I have that Panzerwerfer available, I should be able to roll forwards with a lot more of my mechanized forces. Now we've got a little bubble here, and that's causing a +1 for our opponents. That's going to be like an airborne unit just sneaking through there. We've got the airborne rifles creating that bubble. Meanwhile, Val's trying to spread out with his Grenadiers and Osttruppen to try and take back the ground here. Also my MGs catching the Bren group out in the open there as they are attack moving forwards. Panzer Grenadiers here going to be taking on the Bren group in the open in the centre as well. And over on the right side, 259's able to open up onto the Assault Pioneers and Rifle Leaders. IG-18 on this right side, still not dead, but should be shortly as the Honey is coming in with the HE shells onto that. Bomber's going to come in and hit my Panzer Grenadiers and Val's Osttruppen and Grenadiers on the right side. IG-18's finally dead there. Spitfires are going to be harassing my 259. Now this Air Force at the moment isn't actually that much of a big deal. It may seem like it's quite annoying, but it's actually not too bad. Because the Spitfires don't have that much lethality. They don't kill things, they just sort of pin them down, and as long as you have enough fire support, it's not going to be too much of a problem. Here, just a Panzer Grenadier going to be losing out to a rifle squad, I believe, a 1v1, which was rather annoying. But either way, can happen. Recce squad was destroyed elsewhere as well. And we also take out another recon squad in the centre. So I've managed to move up some spare troops. They're finding enemy recon squads for me and killing them off. We've got Panzer Grenadiers moving up and creating a dent here, giving us 50% back. Need to get rid of this bubble and then it'll be like a +1. That's kind of what we're going for right now. Continuing to pin down the Bren group in the open. Moving forward to the SPW 232, and I've now got a Tiger E Wittmann rolling up. And yeah, here he comes. The ace, the one and only, to support this push as we carry on. Because I've taken out the AT gun here, taken out the AT gun on the right. I thought this would be a decent idea to bring in the Tiger E Wittmann just because it has a lot of HE value, like the 5 HE value with 3 stars. It's pretty good with the 7 HE power on its machine guns. So this thing can definitely support infantry in moving forwards and do a lot of damage that way. It can also pin down like enemy AT guns that it spots very quickly. But at the moment on the right, Osttruppen being pinned down by the Hummer Mark III. Osttruppen here going to be forced to surrender by the rifles. My Panzer Grenadier is just holding back whilst my 259 goes to work onto the Assault Pioneers and the Rifle Leader in the open there. So yeah, the Tiger sort of rolling up the road slowly behind these Panzer Grenadiers. The idea just being that it will provide plenty of fire support onto those units. In the centre of the map, the Panzer Grenadier is still being pinned down by the 50 cal. 50 cal here is only on 1 health. We have finally found the airborne engineers as well, so we're trying to get rid of them. I'm bringing up a Pioneer Führer with the half track with the 9 HE power on it. These guys are really good because they're 3 stars once the leader's unloaded. And now you can see I'm trying to mortar the opposing artillery there with my own mortar. Moving up the 232 to get line of sight onto the enemy rifle squad there. I've got the 232 accompanying the Tiger so that that doesn't get killed by an AT gun. Trying to move forwards the recon as well, just so that we can spot any AT guns. Generally, like the spear troop would be good enough to spot those things. Bomber's going to come in though, spoil our right flank. I'm going to actually be firing my own Panzerwerfer over there, and that does pin down my own troops, but I was basically just trying to stop them from pushing up. I didn't actually think that the rockets would be so close. I think I targeted like this area, but they like missed a couple shots and hit our own units, which was ridiculous. So yeah, moving up the Tiger E Wittmann, the 259 is going to be killing off a half track there, or the Bren carrier, and I'm also going to be trying to pin down the 25 pounder. I spotted a couple of tanks coming down the road, So that's going to be hitting my 232. That's actually like covering the AT gun there. So I'm going to have to be careful with this this Tiger as it continues to attack me to the left side. Now I originally thought this was actually a tank firing, I think, because it's basically an image of a tank, and then obviously it's shooting, right? But it's actually an image of a tank with an AT gun behind it. And actually, as you can see, Seamus does a really good job here. He unloads it, fires it at 232, then he reloads it onto the Stuart and moves it further forwards. Really, really good job there to do that. I was also doing that throughout the game, just like adjusting, for example, the Pack 38 that I dropped off over here, picked it up again, moved it back over to the left. That sort of thing was happening quite a lot in this game, and it was interesting to see, especially in the replay, that my opponent was doing it too. So he readjusts the 17 pounder over to the right side, and what's going to happen here is the 17 pounder that's dropped off over here, that manages to break the tracks of my Tiger and then bails out my 232. So Wittmann not lasting very long in this one. All his kills must have been in a previous battle. Still, I am making quite a lot of ground here, and I've still got, like, yeah, quite a good front line going on this right side. We've got a little bit of a dent on the left, but Val's making great progress past the town and across the river. So really, really good job by Val. I've also brought up some reinforcing Panzer Grenadiers now to secure that push as we move forwards. My half-track in the centre gets destroyed by an AT gun just before the AT gun gets pinned down. But I'm just charging down some rifles here to make even more ground where I can, because we're only just coming past our opponents in terms of score. It's just coming up to 308 score now, where we will overtake our opponents. A squad of Panzer Grenadiers on the left, still destroying rifles for me. On the right side, Humber Mark III versus the half-track there. Not going to be great. And this flak 20mm is still alive in this tree line. So the strategy now is basically to just hold. My opponent really needs to like take advantage of the fact I have literally no infantry around at the moment. I've got these two units of Panzer Grenadiers on the left, but the units of Panzer Grenadiers on the right and in the centre area over on this right side, yeah, they're just non-existent. So I'm actually bringing up some spear troop to provide me with recon where I need it. And I'm also just moving back my mortar here because it was moved quite far forwards originally to take on the 25 pounder. Still making some ground in the middle as well, moving up Pioneerführer alongside Panzergrenführer. And these Panzergrenführer are trying to run to the next tree line as well. Continuing to move through here with Val, and moving up the half-track of the road with a couple more units of Panzer Grenadiers. So 4 units of my own Panzer Grenadiers covering Val's Grenadiers as they try and push through. We've also got the half-tracks there as well. On this right side, air engagement. Val's going to be taking on the Spitfire Mark 9. Spitfire Mark 9's going to shoot down the ME-109G0 though. Focke-Wulf's going to be going hard onto the Spitfires there. And this was just a bit unfortunate because Val's going to be losing both of his planes over on this right side. So Rifle's trying to run at my 259, and they're all getting slaughtered. This 259 was doing work. It was also firing at the Spitfire at the same time, but here we can see the Assault Pioneers and Rifle squads all getting killed off as they try and come across the river there. So my mortar's still going, still firing away. Bomber's going to come in onto my Panzer Grenadiers, and I've now got SPW-231s to assist. So that's going to be going for the attack onto the Stuart. Ideally, I should have been focusing the 17 pounder, but I don't think I was aware of that engagement because I was probably focusing elsewhere, especially with all of my troops moving up in all of these positions. And continuing to move up my Panzer Grenadiers on the left with Val. And I'm still making moves on the far right with the SPW-232 and the 259s. The one thing to note is that I haven't actually used any Panthers yet. And when the division came out in the beta, that's pretty much all that people would use this deck for, was just like using Panthers. But now I'm forced to rely on more of an infantry strategy where I'm using lots of Panzer Grenadiers alongside fire support vehicles like the 259s, and I'm also even bringing up Flak 88s. Like, what is this deck? I don't even recognize it. But either way, this was like the best strategy at the time because the like hedgerows are so close together. They're not going to be using tanks, and if I use tanks, I'm just going to get constantly popped by the 17 pounders. And I know that they've invested in those 17 pounders, so why feed them? I've just got to like rely on my half tracks and my good fire support to push them back here. And I've got little dents in their front lines. However, they are pushing me hard now in the centre using a Churchill 7 alongside this Command Stuart to push the Panzer Grenadiers and my Pioneer Führer. I managed to take out the Stuart there, Command Stuart with the Pioneer Führer, which was great. Panzer Grenadiers are pinned down right next to the Churchill, and I was hoping for the dream here, where the Panzer Grenadiers become like ready to fire again, and they fire at the Churchill. So they're getting on target there, but just get pinned down too quickly by the Rifles leader straight away. They're not surrendering, by the way, because the Pioneer Führer is in their range. Otherwise that would have ended a lot quicker. And they would have, yeah, like I said, just surrendered. Either way, the battle is ongoing. And there is a +1. Still all to play for. Moving up an AT gun for the centre to take care of that Churchill. And I need more infantry here now because I've literally just lost it all. But still pushing on this left side with Val. We're still making a lot of ground on the left. Val was doing a fantastic job there. I've now brought up the Flak 88s here as well. And my 259 on the right side is causing a little push there as well. That was good. Panzer Grenadiers, these guys had killed so many rifle squads, it was so good. Going to be unloading the Flak 88 here to take on some infantry. The Flak 88 decides to fire at the Spitfire that's flying about. And these Flak 88s were basically an attempt at regaining air control. Like, if I could get these Flak 88s into position to hit the Spitfires, I could very easily start to, you know, fight them in the sky with my own like units. Spitfire's going to be hit hard there, but Spitfire Bomber's going to come up and bomb my Flak 88. Actually kills off the unit that was carrying it. So I'm forced to just leave that Flak 88 where it is for now. Kill an Assault Pioneer squad as it tries to run out in the open with the 231 and the SDKZ-7. Rolling on with the Flak 88 as well. SBW 231's trying to engage a Command Churchill. Just trying to avoid that engagement and allow my Pack 40 to get a lovely side shot into that Command Churchill as it approaches. I set up that ambush with the AT gun and it did pay off in the end. My opponent, I'm not sure, was entirely where that was happening. By the way, lost his Command Churchill. On this right side, Flak 88s going for the HE shell onto the Spitfire again. Just trying to get these Spitfires out of the sky. My 259 here is being engaged by a Stuart. So over on the left side, Panzer Grenadiers assisted by the 231s going to be destroying more infantry. Panzergrenführer going to be engaged some infantry coming down the road, and they did just bail out my mortar half track. That was a bit silly of me allowing it to get into line of sight like that. But over on this right side, as you could see, my Flak 88 actually got pinned, so I just decided to move it because they just kept attacking it. And I also saw lots of like tanks coming down this road, so I just wanted to readjust it as quickly as I could. And what's going to happen is just going to continue to fire at the Spitfires just from a different position. Also though, it now covers the road. So that's really what I'm going for. Panzerwerfer does arty the rifles as they're coming down the road here. I'm trying to make them surrender with my half track. My Panzer Grenadiers on the left side surrender, unfortunately. But the SBW 231's really doing a good job at this point. So we're getting rid of these Spitfires. They're not being as annoying as they were before, because I'm actually managing to force them out of the sky. However, over on the right side, half track's going to go down. Honey Stewart's still pushing relatively hard there. Spear Troop are engaging some assault pioneers, charging down one of my half tracks. In the centre, SPW-231s are trying to support the remainder of my Panzer Grenadiers. And Panzer Grenadiers up here are busy engaging multiple units as they approach. So glider leaders all over the place now, alongside the M1 howitzer. It was interesting to see that the 101st Player had both glider rifles and glider leaders. Not entirely sure that's the best choice of units for the 101st, but either way, was giving us a lot of ground on the left side. This is only a +1 though. We've made it across here on the left, but because we're being pushed in the centre and on the right, we're actually only at a +1 with 52% territory lead, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Either way, plane coming in again. This Flak 88 is actually going to be pinned down, and my lack of infantry on this right side is really starting to show. And finally, the first Panther has arrived. We're well into Phase C. Now, only just am I bringing up a Befeld Panther, and this is quite simply to defend the right side. Now, this Flak 88 did end up taking out the Stuart as it tried to cross the bridge. Spear Troop are pinning down the 17 pounders here, and the Flak 20mm is still doing a reasonable amount of damage to the Spitfires. My ME 109 G6 is going to get out alive. I brought it in to try and take on the Spitfires, but fortunately I do have the Flak 88s to cover that off. Also, the ME 109s are faster than the Spitfires. They're able to get out of there just fine. Panzer Grenadiers pushing up, going to be taking on engineers. These SPW-231s waiting for the rifles to get into line of sight. And over on the left, the majority of my Panzer Grenadiers have been killed off now, but Val's still holding the front line with his own troops. These Panzer Grens moved up and are going to be killing some engineers as they try and approach in the open. The only issue here is if the engineers get in range with the 100-meter satchel charge, then I'm in trouble. So, yeah, they're coming very, very close. They're actually going to surrender before they use their satchel charge, because I think my opponent probably just like did a right-click move as opposed to an attack move, and that meant that happened. Befeld Panther's going to be engaging another Stuart, and goodbye to that. Panzer Grenadiers moving up now. Just some more reinforcing Panzer Grenadiers, the last of, I believe, to retain the front line. So also bringing up another Pioneer Führer with the 251-9. And if I can get that into the right position, I can probably help support my push against the rifles here. A massive amount of air power coming in now. They're going really hard onto my Flak 88. You've got the Typhoon AT, you've got the Spitfire Mark 9, both of the Spitfires, and that Flak 88 is still alive. On the right side, just killing off a Command Stuart with the Befeld Panther. And I really need to get this Flak 88 out of there, so what I try and do is get it onto a half track to run it away, because there's no chance that Flak 88 is basically going to survive if it stays there. But what ends up happening is my Panzer Grenadiers accidentally get into the half track. So trying to get it there, trying to get it on, and then boom. AT gun kills off the half track, mortar comes in, finishes off the Flak 88. Worth a try, didn't pay off, to say the least. So my recon car is going to be helping finish off these rifles. We're going to be pushing the other recon car in the centre to kill off those engineers. And we're still maintaining the +1, 53% territory lead. It's been a slog though, and as you can see I'm relying mostly now on my mechanized units. So I've got my half tracks and also my motorized units, the SBW231s and the 259s and the 232s and so on. Air engagement now. ME-109 G6R6 is coming in. Going to be trying to shoot down some of their Spitfires. One of them goes down to the ME-109 G6R6s. Going to be trying to get onto the second one here, but it's more likely that I should get onto this 2-star ME-109 since I do have the Flak 88 available there. As soon as that Flak 88 forces that to fall back, I can jump onto it. But another Spitfire coming in to spoil the day, I'm forced to withdraw my ME-109 for today. So now what I've done is brought in multiple more Flak 38s, the 20mm versions, and these are basically just to provide fire support for infantry, but also just to, you know, help those air engagements, and also just help hold the front line as well, because as you can see, I've only got like 4 units of Panzer Grenadiers on this right side. Over here, Panzer Grenadiers are going to be paying themselves off as they hit a Panzerfaust into the side of the Daimler. 231 is going to be opening up onto the rifles there as well. This rifle squad's still holding strong on the left side, and Val's still making a lot of ground as well. We're now at a 54% territory lead. Not the biggest lead that has ever been seen, but still significant nonetheless, since we are pushing the +1 quite far in our favour now, and there is 5 minutes left in the game, and we've got 1,190 points. So the opponents at this point really need to get a like +2 or even a +3 in order to win. So we're pretty happy at this point that we have won the game, because there's not too much our opponents can do to come back. Either way, Challenger and another tank going to be coming down the right side here. They're going to be approaching this bridge. My half tracks are going to make a run for it along with the 232, because I literally have nothing I can deal with that with other than the Flak 88. So I'm going to just let them come towards me with the Stuart there. And the Stuart's going to take the sights of a Spitfire. And I'm having to basically manually aim it onto the Stuart there, and the Challenger ends up pinning my Flak 88 down. So that wasn't ideal. Yeah, the Flak 88 auto-aimed at the Spitfire. I had to manually target the Stuart, Command Stuart there in order to basically kill that off before it pinned down my Flak 88, but ended up that the Challenger did the job anyway. So I'm just going to be falling that back fast as I can. My Flak 38s are doing a relatively high amount of damage to the B-26, but not enough to make too much of a difference, and the Flak 88 goes down here. I'm also bringing up a Panzer II. This was quite simply to support, but I quickly duck that to the left side and cross the bridge there. M8 Scott's going to be going down in the centre to the 251-9, and again, we're continuing to make ground in the centre and on the left now. I'm bringing in the ME-109 to try and rocket the Challenger, try and stop that from doing too much. Opponent has plenty of Spitfires in the sky. He's trying to get onto my tail, but thanks to Val's Focke-Wulf 190 and my ME-109, we take down that Spitfire, and this ME-109 is free to kill off the other Spitfire, and we pretty much win the air war there. So the Spitfire just about gets away, but we're pretty safe. Typhoon AT is brought in. ME-109's already right behind it, but just going to be slightly overshooting it. Trying to get on target there as best I can. This Typhoon AT really took a wrong turn, that's for sure. So this ME-109 is still in the sky as well. It's going to be assisting in trying to take out the Mark 9 there, and the Focke-Wulf 190 is going to be finally finishing off the Typhoon AT. Val comes in with a Ju-87 and kills off the Challenger, I believe, and then he also takes out another tank there, another Sherman, I believe. So this is, I don't know, kind of dire on my right side. I'm losing ground quite heavily at the moment. But in the centre, Val's got his Jagdpanther out. He's holding the left relatively well, especially with all of these Nebelwerfers. So, yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. We've just won the air war, shot down all of their planes. We're at a +1, there's only 1 minute left in the game. Pretty happy with how this turned out, even though the division I was playing wasn't the most ideal at all. Just going to be starting to push up with my half-tracks and APCs here. Going to be killing off another Daimler AC. Plane still coming in, but Typhoon AT is actually going to get a double kill here onto my command vehicle there, and the half-track next to it forces my SPW 231 back, but again, doesn't really matter at this point. 232 is going to be moving forwards to take out the 17-pounder as well. Just want to make sure that I kill that off. And goodbye to that. So Sherman 2 is going to be brought up. Panzer Grenadier is going to be engaging the 17-pounder on the right side as well. I think our opponents were just desperately trying to make ground, but with 40 seconds left on the clock, there's not too much they can do. It was funny how this Opel Blitz just ended up sitting behind our lines captured for the rest of the game, since the Challenger came down here and took that over. That was actually an empty one though, since that had been resupplying my Panzerwerfer as I've been continuing to use it throughout the game. I'm trying to probe in the centre now, or where I can with the 231s, just to make a little bit extra ground. Not that it really matters at this point. With 10 seconds left on the clock, myself and Val have secured victory. So, this is an incredibly long game that probably didn't need to be as long as it was. We did have the lead for the majority of the game, and but our teammates just didn't, or our opponents just didn't want to give up, and that's fair enough. I mean, there's always a chance you can come back. But if we jump to the team's perspective, you can see I was having a hella hard time on the right side. 3,545 kills to 3,160 losses. That's a lot of losses. I lost my VulcanHDGaming to the Challenger that showed up on the right side. I lost, you know, multiple units throughout the game, like the Tiger. I lost, you know, the 259s to the AT weapons, and basically the AT weapons were doing so much damage, but I had to rely a lot on the like Tigers, for example, especially in like Phase B, because I ended up running out of like infantry, I guess. And I don't know, maybe I should have just focused on infantry more. And actually, I must have had infantry because I brought them in after the Tiger. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I should have focused more on infantry and half-track support, keeping the cost of the fire support low, so those AT guns couldn't have been as effective. And unfortunately, I kind of played into those AT guns very much so at the start of the game, and Seamus got a lot of kills for that. We look at Val though. Val did a fantastic job. 2,805 kills to 1,695 losses. Honestly though, I think that the 101st player wasn't that great, or he maybe didn't understand how to use the deck appropriately, because I felt like the 101st should have won that left side. I don't know. I don't know if like Val just played it really, really well, which he definitely could have, but I also think it mainly came down to like our opponents not using like airborne engineers effectively and so on. And these guys weren't bad players. I mean, this guy's got a 60% win rate. Seamus has a 70% win rate with 200 games, so that's pretty crazy. And there you go. I mean, if you guys want to see my win rate, I'm 86% in ranked at the moment, and I'm 82% in multiplayer. That's with 153 games. So that Seamus guy's actually played more games than me. But either way, that's just a comparison of relative skill, I guess, across teams. If we look at kills though, 259s always paying themselves off. I love these armored cars, they're so good. And if we continue to move down, Pack 38 is getting some kills there. Tiger Vidman only got a rifles kill before he got killed. 232, that did a good job, killing off multiple Assault Pioneers, rifles, 17-pounders there. 231 again. All these armored cars with the 20 mils are so good. They always pay themselves off. Flak 88 not getting too many kills there, but definitely helping control the air. VulcanHDGaming killed off a reasonable amount before it got killed. ME109s though definitely paying themselves off, killing off 2 Spitfires. Panzer killed off a 25 pounder and an MMG carrier. This Me-109G2, that's the one with the rockets, killed off a Spitfire and a Recce squad. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Panzerwerfer kills off a couple of infantry squads. I think that the main thing that it came down to in this one was my more expensive units just didn't pay themselves off throughout the game. And if we jump to the losses, well, 6 pounder took out the Boyd Cromwell. That was quite a big loss for me at the start of the game. The other sort of half tracks don't really matter, but the Boyd Cromwell, that definitely does. And these other 6 pounders, yeah, again, getting a couple APC kills here and there is fine. Spitfire is actually finishing off a lot of my Panzer Grenadiers. I didn't actually realise how many kills they got. The 17 pounder though, look at this. Tiger E. Wittmann, multiple half tracks. That's not very nice at all. Another 17 pounder, not really actually paying itself off, but definitely getting a few kills there. Command Churchill not paying itself off either when it got shot in the side by that AT gun. And over on the left side, you got a few of my units being hit hard by the 101st player in the mid game. But there we go. That's about it for this one. It was a pretty damn hard game for my division. I shouldn't have really relied on my heavier units so much and continued to pile out the infantry. But either way, that's all. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.